My name is Melissa Ingram. I'm a licensed mental health counselor in New York. I work mostly with women, dealing with a variety of issues: depression, anxiety, gender identity, confusion, unwanted same-sex attraction. There was a time in my life, if you had asked me, I would have identified as a lesbian. My story starts in a family of 5. I have an identical twin sister and an older brother. I was angry at my dad for leaving us and not saying anything about it, and I was angry at my mother for not confronting him. I felt she was a doormat, a victim. I saw her as weak and passive, and I really wanted nothing to do with that. The way I felt about my dad and my brother, and then that became generalized onto men, was that men used women, men abused women. The conclusion I came to about my femininity was that it was a liability. Bottom line, I didn't like who my mother was, and I don't think I liked who I was. I was involved with a group of friends who were very open-minded, and really anything goes was sort of the mindset. One of my close friends just kind of questioned me one day about, did you ever consider dating this other friend of ours, who was female? And so I hadn't ever really considered it, but that question really sort of opened a door, and I began to think, I got back to school for my senior year of college, and one of my best friends basically said, you need to figure this out. Let's go to a gay bar and just see how it goes. And so a bunch of us went, and I met my first girlfriend. Shortly after my girlfriend and I started dating, the AIDS memorial quilt was being displayed on the mall. What stands out to me from that time was seeing the protesters on the side and the sign that God hates fags. Talk about anger. My girlfriend basically had to hold me back, but that was my first exposure to Christians. So my next exposure to Christians was my twin sister, Kathy, who had become a Christian our freshman year of college. When I told her and my mother that I thought I was a lesbian, I was convinced that she was going to tell me I was going to hell. What was helpful about that conversation with her and my mother is that instead of telling me I was going to hell, they said, we don't believe that that's God's best for you, but we love you anyway. It just left me feeling like I could talk with her about questions I had. My sister invited me to this missions conference. I was very open to going. Then, the second to last day of this conference, there was a promo for a workshop on sexual wholeness, and the speaker was someone who was sharing his testimony of coming out of homosexuality. And honestly, I wasn't believing that this was true. In that seminar, he shared about all kinds of sexual issues and really the idolatry of it, of looking to someone else to complete me. And somewhere in there was a prayer of salvation, like to accept Christ, because I know I did that day. And it was like this burden was lifted. About 6 years in, I met my husband at Living Waters training. He asked me out. So we were married in 2007, and we now have 2 children, 2 boys. My marriage to Gary, being with him, is about so much more than just not being with a woman. Like, it's not an easy exchange. It's not just replaceable. It really is an outward reflection of an internal reality. And that took time. God still works that out, but it's been totally worth it. And I can see how God brought us together with our unique personalities, our gifts, to complement one another and really to work together in God's kingdom. So it's pretty awesome.